Welcome to the Sanctuary Podcast. Angel Deer is a medicine man and offers his work on sacred land through shamanic healing, energy healing, sound healing, breath work, plant medicine, and workshops and events. The Sanctuary is a community for all those who seek healing, transformation, ancient wisdom, and a place to come together to create a new way of living and relating. This is the Sanctuary Podcast, and this is Angel Deer.
Welcome everyone on this new episode of the Sanctuary Healing Center here in the Catskills, upstate New York. Today is a beautiful subject. It's a subject around the idea that when we talk or when we do something, we can either do it from our heart, what we call the place of intuition, or from our mind, what we call the place of ego. And it's a fascinating subject because we learn at school or through science most of the time that there's only one place that we are thinking from, which is our brain, what also we can call our ego. But as we develop our spiritual capacity, as we develop our emotional sensitivity, we start to realize that sometimes we do things from a place that's not in our head, but it's in our heart. And we know that when we have very strong emotions, when we say things sometimes where we feel deep in our chest that we have to talk about them, we have to say something. And it's not something that is controlled, that is logical sometimes, or that comes from a place where we know it's the right things to say. We just know it's the truth. It's something we have to share. And many people have asked me these past weeks, how do I make the distinction? And how do I know, in fact, when I take a decision or when I have a feeling or an idea, if it's coming from the right place, meaning from the heart space and not from my mind, from my ego place. So in this podcast, what I want to share with you is first some ideas about ego and heart space and how to distinguish from which space we might be talking or acting from, and then a few tools that could help you develop having a heart space more open so you can speak from your heart and trust your intuition more instead of taking decisions from your ego and your mind. So one thing that I want to start sharing with you is that we have to understand the physiology of the brain. And science has discovered that pretty much anything that we do in our life, because that's the way our brain is wired, is based on fight or flight, which is basically a place of fear. And that's great in many ways because it protects us. And that's the reason why our species is thriving on this earth. It allows you to know when to cross the street. It allows you to have a gut feeling, maybe shall I trust that person, or shall I go over there on the left or on the right? Our brain is wired to overprotect us, I would say. So to always put a little bit of fear and reason into acting. So maybe things are not spontaneous. And so that's a good mechanism in itself. The issue with that mechanism is that it learns from experiences that we have to react a certain way. And so if we have had, for example, difficult relationships, we might learn to be more careful when we're in relationships. Despite this new person that may be coming to us is completely unrelated with those past stories. We might have had a bad experience, let's say, with money or with driving or with eating a certain type of food. And next time, maybe we're in the same situation we are going to be overreacting by being overprotecting ourselves, overprotective of our own body, our own emotions. And what happened over time, as we grow up and as we become an adult and as we go through our adult life, is that we have a tendency to shut down. We shut down to experiences, we shut down to emotions, we shut down basically to living life on a full scope. We don't experience life fully. So we can't live life completely for what it is. We basically live a little life, or a life that's a little bit in retreat. And that's something that we have to be careful and wary of. Because if we don't want, obviously, to feel the pain or to experience the things that could be risky for us, the issue is as we shut down, we are also going to shut down to experiencing the high of life or the joy of life or the happiness in life. And so we are not going to be fully available also for other people, because we will come to someone maybe that we've never met with already some stories, some filters. One of my teachers always used to say, you're wearing some tinted glasses. So you always wear some kind of glasses that show you the world not as it is, but as you see it, which is based again on those past experiences. And that's really driving our life from a place of ego or from a place of the mind. On the contrary, if we develop some big quality of heart, if we develop some practices that allow us to open our heart space, despite maybe some bad experience within our life, despite maybe some suffering, despite some pain maybe that we have experienced, when we come into situation, we will not only be reacting, but we'll be more open to possibilities. And that's really the only way to live life fully, but also it's the only way to heal truly. Because if we just stay in the stories, we are going to shrink down little by little, year after year, based on our experiences. I'm just going to not want to feel, to not want to experience fully. And worse than that, I'm not going to be seeing things as they are. So when I meet someone, I already come with some preconceived ideas because of who they are, maybe the color of their skin, their language, what they look like, what they remind us. We don't see any more things as they are. We just see things as we see them. So kids, when they're born, babies, don't act that way. You know, you always see kids, maybe smiling and running to strangers with big arm open and smiling. But very quickly their parents tell them, no, you can't do that. No, you have to be careful. You can't trust everyone. Not everyone has to be trusted. So it's true that as we are babies and kids, we need to be protected from the world out there. But as adults, those stories become our truth, become our reality. And what was once said to us as a good protection for us become a life story, become the way we see the world. So the place of intuition, on the contrary, the place that's in our heart, is a place that's way more open, way more trusting, way more into feeling than thinking. So that heart space has to be cultivated, because not cultivating it will let the ego mind or the fight or flight that I talked earlier about override any experiences we have in our life. So if you want to develop that heart space, if you believe that you really want to develop that intuition, there are a few ways to do that. One of the first one is to be able to sit in meditation with our what I would call negative emotions or negative experiences, to see them once again for what they are, but not to see them as a silver lining of our lives, to see them as a constant of what should be happening. And we all have traumas or bad experiences that we have had, maybe in a relationship, or maybe in the workplace, or maybe with our family, or maybe with money, maybe with the way we see certain kind of people that are different from us. That's, part of life. We learn to categorize, and the brain is very good at doing that. But if we take some time to sit in meditation with a specific feeling, maybe around relationship, around the opposite sex, around the workplace, or my career, or what I'm good at, we can start seeing a deeper truth inside it. And that can take a little bit of time. Maybe you need to sit with that emotions you have had, for example, towards an ex-boyfriend, an ex-girlfriend, your ex-husband or wife, to start seeing that maybe the story is not about women or men. Maybe the story is not about that industry at work, but it was just about that one person. That one person that was maybe different, that maybe have hurted us, but it has nothing to do with a bigger story that our brain is building on top of it.
You're listening to the Sanctuary Podcast with Angel Deer. While you're listening, browse the website at www.thesanctuaryheal.com.
And in fact, as you sit a little bit more with that one story, that one negative emotions, you might start seeing that at the time when you met that person, you maybe have had an intuition of something deeper that was guiding you, maybe not to go toward that, or if it was to go toward that it was to learn something, to grow something inside you, to be aware of something inside you that maybe you were not aware before. And so you can step by step transform those negative emotions, those negative experiences into teaching, into learning, into growth. And so by doing that, we dismantle the story and we dismantle the filters, the glasses we're wearing, so we can start seeing things a little bit more clearly as they are. As we sit in meditation, as we create more silence in our life also, which is maybe by being a bit less connected, having not such a permanent social life, maybe by spending more time in nature, maybe by practicing prayer or gratitude, you might start to realize that you have an inner wisdom that's always there to guide you. And it's in a place that's located inside your heart or in your gut. Sometimes we say, I had this strong feeling there's something there. I knew it. You know how many times you hear someone saying that? When you think about it and when you feel that, it's not really coming from the head. It's coming from that deeper place of wisdom. But if we're too much in our head, if we're too busy with life, it's very hard to get into that wisdom, to get into that feeling. So intuition vs ego is really art vs the mind. It's really, how do I balance those two tools, those two, I would say, energies to run my life? Am I running my life mainly from a place of mind, thinking, of fear, of being careful, of calculation, of classifying good, bad, right, wrong? Or am I living my life from a place of openness, from a place that includes everything, from a place that there is no right and wrong? It's a place where there is learning and growing and teachings. So look at any situation in your life that you might experience right now, maybe in your personal life or maybe at work. And look, which part of your body are you using? Which part of your energy inside you is moved? Is it a place in your head because you have that story in your head for now way too long? Or is it from a place of deeper knowledge? And that's something all of us can do. It can take some time, some practice, and I encourage you to do meditation, to create silence, to develop a practice of prayer, a practice of gratitude, a practice of connection to nature, which really open you to a broader experience of life. But you probably know already a little bit what I'm talking about if you're thinking of a situation. And if you see some silver lining, if you see something that keeps repeating in your life, very often is because you're entangled into a story in your head and you're not able fully to hear the deeper wisdom. So we're stuck in it and we keep repeating the same mistake. Maybe also you can look just at yourself in the mirror and what is that story I'm repeating to myself. I'm not good enough. I'll never be enough. I'll never know how to do that. I'm not the right person for that other person. I'm not the right person to do that job. I don't think I'll ever be able to achieve that in my life. My dreams are too big and I can't attain them. So what are those stories where the ego took over all your energy? And then, as you look at that, do the same exercise. Try to see that situation from a place of intuition, from your heart space, and see how you could look at that story with more love, with more compassion. Who is that person that's talking to me inside my head, that's criticizing all the time? And where did it started? Why would I talk to myself that way? Is there a better, loving and kind way to talk to myself? And discover that heart space. As you cultivate it, through some of the examples I have given, you will start building a new muscle that was here from the beginning that maybe you haven't experienced or trained for a long time. So it's a little bit like when you go to the gym the first time. There's some muscle that are really painful and that are not really strong enough. And so the competition in some ways between that space of intuition and that space of ego is very comparable to two different muscles. One that's overly trained and it's too big and that's basically doing all the work, and one muscle that is too tiny and too small and that's not doing any work and that's very hard time. But as you do your practice, you will start rebalancing it. And we're never trying to erase the ego, erase the mind, because obviously experiences and learning that we have, they are very useful in life. We're just trying to rebalance it with that place of intuition. So we can really walk on our two legs and not just on one leg. So I invite you, in your life, maybe you got inspired by what I said, or maybe something came to your mind and you saw a situation where you might be too much in your mind and your ego more than you are in your heart and your intuition space. And try to see, is it the truth that I think or that I see when I'm looking at that person, when I'm talking to that person, when I'm thinking of that situation? Or is it just based on a story that I've built over the years? Is it just based on fear right now, the way I look at things or at a specific thing? Or is it based on love and a bigger understanding, a broader view on that subject? And you'll be really surprised if you do that exercise and just pick up one thing. Don't start with 20 different things. Just pick up one thing in your life where maybe you have struggled with, or maybe that is difficult, or it's something that's been present with you for a very long time, and look to it from your heart space. See how you could shift the way you look at it from, and experience it, and see after a few days, a few weeks, how maybe a new wisdom is arising. And that's the last thing I want to leave you with. The ego space, the mind space is really about doing. The heart space, the space of intuition, is just about being. So it's not trying to overthink that situation, but on the contrary, to let it go and just observe it from a loving and kind place, which is a place of your heart. And as you do that, a new voice is going to arise. A new wisdom is going to arise. And that voice is going to guide you in a much more beautiful way into a new direction. And it will allow your relationship, your work, your life to unfold in a much more powerful way. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast today of The Sanctuary. I invite you to check our video also on YouTube or my blog post on gotorogroup.com/blog. And you can find all that in the title of the podcast here above on iTunes. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. And don't hesitate to email me. As usual, most of my podcasts and blogs are based on your own question, on your own experience, on what you're sharing with me. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I wish you a very good day.
You've been listening to the Sanctuary Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, we're a source of talks about spirituality, personal transformation, energy healing, shamanism, and earth-based practices. For more, visit thesanctuaryheal.com. On the website, you can find out about our events, our retreats, healing offering, our spiritual blog, and you can also register for the newsletter. Again, visit thesanctuaryheal.com. Till next time, this is the Sanctuary Podcast, and Angel Deer signing off.